Hi guys, welcome to this video. Here, instead of having examples, we're actually just going to do a little explanation of what you might see, the three different situations that you could have when you're given inputs and outputs and asked to identify whether or not what you're looking at is a function. So these are clearly very simplified. The data that you will have will probably be a little bit more complicated, but these are the basic things that you want to look out for. And the basic situations where if you can tell that your input or output fits one of these situations, that'll really help you in deciding whether or not it is a function. So let's look at situation 1 here. Remember that the way that we tell whether or not something is a function is we look to make sure that each input only goes to one output. So here when we're looking at this particular diagram, we have 1 going to 3 and 2 going to 4. So in this situation, no one of these numbers has more than one arrow coming out of it or going into it. So this is going to be a function. So we would say here, yes, this is a function. All right, and that's because for each input that we had, there's only one output. So let's look at now situation number 2. So in situation number 2, we've got something different going on here. Now we have our one input, our 1 here, going to 2 different outputs. And this is what is not allowed, where you have one input that has 2 different arrows or different lines coming out of it going to different outputs. All right, so this is the one that's not allowed to happen. And we would say no, not a function. Okay, so now let's look at situation 3. Now situation 3 is one where people can sometimes get a little bit confused because you say, ooh, look, we've got 2 going into the same thing, so we're going to say, no, this is not a function. But remember, the qualification is about the input, not about the output. All right, something's a function if each input only goes to one output. It doesn't say anything about you can't have more than one input going to the same output. And I know that's kind of a confusing wording, especially because both of these words sound so similar, which is why it can be really helpful to draw out these diagrams and kind of just have an idea in your mind of what it's going to look like so that you don't have to try to remember those confusing words and get them straight. All right, so here our 1 only goes to 3 and our 2 also only goes to 3. Neither one of our inputs go to more than one number, right? That was the problem here, that we had one input that went to 2 different outputs. Here, each of our inputs only still goes to one output. So here, this is a function. Yes, this one is still a function. If I were doing a test, I would actually literally draw these situation tables out at the top of my test so that I would have kind of fresh in my mind something that I could write down that I could refer back to when I'm in my more complicated situations, trying to figure out which one of these is the one that's going on.